guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Petaluma Community Access Board of Directors meeting for Tuesday, May 21st, 2013. Would the secretary call the roll, please?
Cindy Thomas.
Here.
Eric Adams.
He's absent.
Matt Pearson.
Here.
Jason Davies, myself, is here. Neil Fishman.
Here.
Rachel Moran.
Still in SoCal.
George Utrilla. Absent. Tim Williamson.
Here.
John Bertucci.
Here.
Thank
Okay,
you.
We got a quorum. Is there anyone here to speak at public comment? Seeing none, we'll go to the Board of Directors comments and announcements. Are there any? What happened in the last month? You didn't.
I'll
okay,
make
go
one
on
just to
for
be
this.
different.
Okay.
So just recently I posted at the request of the fire department a nice little update on CPR. There is a modified, reduced version of CPR, which I'm not qualified to get into the details, but we have links on the front of the website and in the fire department's EMS section. Apparently now when you see an adult unresponsive and apparently conked out, you give them the 100 beats per minute. The cool thing is all of the video links, these are on YouTube, they're supposed to pretend you're doing the Bee Gees song, Staying Alive.
Oh, nice.
And this week or next week or somewhere in here is going to be, has been proclaimed to be EMS week, emergency stuff. So please swing by the fire headquarters and bug Jeff Shock.
I have an announcement.
Can I just cap on that? Because Thomas just took CPR training.
So you could have watched the video and you wouldn't have to.
So we got a CPR in the office.
Great. What prompted him to do it?
Oh, he's always exploring new avenues. He's keeping
That's
busy.
good.
Yeah.
Well, he's out on the trails a lot, so
Yeah.
good knowledge. Anyone else? Yes, Matt.
Just wanted to announce that this Saturday is the graduation at Santa Rosa Junior College, and it's we should be recording it and having it up on air in PCA in probably 2 to 3 weeks from now. So before the next board meeting, and not only that of note, but there's 1,500 degrees being awarded this Saturday,
Cool.
and about 500. Well, we're expecting over 500 to 550 people walking. And it's the largest graduating class we've had since 1998. So it's an impressive thing for the county. So hopefully if you're not there, you can watch it on PCA in a couple weeks.
Is that in the Petaluma campus or both?
It's the entire Santa Rosa Junior College district.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else?
Been enjoying helping procuring equipment for the studio. Some microphones are going to be coming in that we got at a discount, which is great. And I look forward to doing some more work at PCA as part of some community service that I'll be doing. Thanks, John. That's my update for today.
Don't ask why. Right, Jason?
Oh, I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah,
but-
pause the camera, please.
Oh, I got a ticket in the HOV lane, which I talked to the judge about because I was very embarrassed about it. I'm a big advocate for HOV lanes and adhering to the rules regarding them, but I had not been aware that the cutoff time for using that HOV lane was 3:30 in the around Santa Rosa area. So just keep in mind out there.
That's right. It's 4:30 in Marin.
It's 4:30 in Marin, and I've just been driving
Earlier up
through
here.
Marin, and it is earlier up here, so you just have to be very careful about that. When in doubt, do not use the HOV lane. Good news is it means 20 hours of additional time for PCA, so I'm happy to help and redeem myself, hopefully.
Too bad he had to break the law to make the contribution.
Well, in addition to the time I'm already giving this important.
All
work.
right.
Maybe we should have an absolution ceremony for it.
On top of that, I actually just got back from demonstrating a really interesting product that I think will be great for PCA, and I'm probably going to be able to donate a copy of a reverb removal solution. It's a very common problem in video when you're recording and you're using a microphone on the camera. Picks up a lot of ambient noise. One of the companies I'm working with has a solution for it, and right now it's actually the only solution that can do that. So I'm looking into getting a copy for PCA so that that can be part of the suite for
You
editing.
could teach a class and how to use it.
True, although that probably falls more into the board membership category than the community service.
Yeah.
But
Oh, it's definitely extra. Yeah.
anyway, that's more than enough said on my part.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. That it? Okay. Everybody's looked at the agenda, and we're looking for a motion to approve if we're ready to do so.
So moved?
Second?
Okay. Anyone opposed to that? Okay. Item 5, approval of the minutes for the April 16th meeting. Jason sent those this afternoon. Did everybody get a chance to look at them?
Sorry
Yes.
for them being late.
I was the only one that noticed that they just went out. That means,
I'll move it.
I didn't notice they went out, but I read it.
I did read them.
good.
You can-
So we're good with them? Motion to approve from Mr. Fishman?
Second?
Okay. Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Treasurer's report, please, Matt?
Well, the last profit and loss statement for the end of April shows us that we have, hold on a second here, brought up the wrong document. Let's have this up. $90,108, that was at the end of April, but John also had sent me an email that luckily we've received our PEG fees for the last quarter, which brought us some interesting news. We received about $56,000 in those two checks. Comcast, though, which broke a trend that we saw in the last couple of years, or last year or so, probably, decreased by $900, and AT&T actually increased by $100. So, according to the notes that I got. So, we were having some discussions that it's interesting to see what will happen there. So that's a change in consumption patterns that people are being taxed for, reducing packages, what's happening, if that should change any of our budget estimates or not. So that's what I have for now.
Okay, anyone have any questions? John, do you have anything else that you would want to add to that?
No, I've been working on the budget and I think we can address anything there. Yeah, the stalling of the growth trend in the PEG fees, I don't think it's a problem, but it's stuff you can bank on. It was growing 500, 700 every quarter, and it just dropped, so gave me pause.
It's called a market correction.
I think with all the new construction going on, it's not too much to worry about.
Is there much residential new construction going on?
Yeah.
Starting.
So,
Okay.
It's picking
there's
back
a lot
up
down at south end,
to January.
southwest part of town, the quarry site there, they're adding new things. It's gonna start putting more money in.
A couple apartment complexes.
Yeah, Southgate's done, but Quarry's expanding.
Course picked back up.
Great.
No panic yet.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, John, thank you, Matt. John, are you ready for the executive director's report?
Sure am. Let's see, my topics. Well, we had a We had hired a young man named Steve for the access assistant, and he changed his mind over the weekend, so we found Mario Marquecho, who's taken Adonai's place, picking up very quickly. It is great to have Spanish speaking at the front desk. And we also brought on somebody who applied for the same position but was going to be starting full-time in Sonoma State, so really wasn't a candidate. But he's come on, Francisco Carabajal is coming on as access assistant. We're training him on City Hall. And the activities plan, I sent out a copy to everybody. Thanks to Tim for some valuable fine tuning. And I think the copy that you had, I only made one change, and that's because I had to clarify Matt's status. Matt was appointed to fill an elected seat, so Matt is an elected member of the board.
And I did see that, I was gonna ask, I think there's a 2-year term on that versus
Yeah.
a 1-term one?
Well, you took over
Yeah.
a 3-year term, so I corrected it.
Thank you.
And we've started a credit card service at PCA. We take credit cards now. We're using Square. Zach did some investigating, and there's a small charge on each transaction. But we thought that was better than paying a bigger fee up front, and then, because we don't know how often it's gonna go. But let's see, in about 3 weeks, we've had 6 uses of the card, so.
Are any of those online?
Online?
Like to purchase, would there be an option to purchase like Butter and Eggs Day Parade or graduation
We haven't
online with a
integrated
credit
it
card?
online, but that's a good idea. I'll take that back to the group. What we have is a little device you can plug onto a cell phone and run the card.
Right.
So
It's very efficient.
are you using PayPal?
We're using Square.
Right, but back,
No, I don't believe we're using PayPal.
They're a different processor.
Right, but if we,
Yeah, but
if
you
we
can
were, we would
use-
drop PayPal and use,
You could also use PayPal for online purchases.
yeah, you can also use Square through PayPal, if I'm not mistaken. There's a way to do it. But integrating it into the website would be good.
Yeah, Caitlin has been very active with outreach and getting her feet, getting her balanced in the organization. But we talked about this summer, she's gonna put some more work in on the website. The studio build-out has been going full steam ahead. We've been painted the control room black, painted the green screen green, and Zach was painting the grid overhead in black as well this weekend. And he just put up the acoustic ceiling tiles, they're black as well. The curtain track is the next step, and then he'll start cabling the system and creating a set. We're trying to complete all the purchases for the CapEx equipment this fiscal year, so we can balance with the city at the end of the fiscal year. And it should be operational in August, but we'll be using it in July. We have June classes. Dan Bilava will be teaching another session of Final Cut Pro. The dates for that are June 12th, 19th, and 26th. It's a $60 membership required tuition, and this will be our 4th, so it's been going well. And our illustrious and talented access assistant here, Max, is going to be teaching a stop motion class in July in the new studio. That's going to be July 8th, 10th, and 12th, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and the 15th, 17th, and 19th. That'll be 2 weeks, 4 hours per session, and I think it's pretty exciting. Max has done a lot of work in stop motion.
What is stop motion?
Little clay that moves
Oh,
across the...
oh, I thought that,
I thought that was
really?
called claymation.
Remember Ray Harryhausen?
I know, he just died, so you're
Yeah.
taking over, right?
You probably love him, don't you?
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Our POV screenings were launched on May 1st, and we had a full house. It was packed. 15 people with 3 kids sitting on the floor, and somebody brought a big bowl of popcorn. It was very successful. The only problem is there was only 1 member in the group, so we're going to do another one. I'm not sure of the date. We were aiming at early June. Now we're looking at end of June, but we don't want it to overlap with the Final Cut Pro class. So So Caitlin will keep you posted on the exact date. But it was quite a success, and we'll run one more open to the public, and then we'll see where we're at, because it might be something we want to make members only as a recruitment tool.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wild and Woolly PCA backup band really kicked butt. Those of you who missed it, you missed.
It's on YouTube, right?
What?
It's on YouTube, right?
Did it get videoed?
Yeah.
It was video. I haven't seen the video yet. It was, they got,
Get it on PCA?
get
Did you
it?
guys see pictures of it?
I did, I
Yeah.
saw the pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys must have fun.
George was super cool too.
Who was the saxophone player, though?
There were two of them. We
Well,
flew him
it's-
in. We flew him in from Chicago for the event.
I thought one of them came from like South Petaluma or something.
Well,
South side.
yeah, we have
Deep
the south side rift going.
Yeah,
I think there's-
Southside Cindy.
I think there's some career changes provoked by this event. No, it was
We
good
had
fun.
fun.
It was
I
a
had
very
a
well
blast.
presented fundraiser. I enjoyed it. That's it for my reporting.
Okay, anybody got questions for John?
It's just sounds like the studio build-out is great, and the activities and picking up and
Yeah.
everything.
Have you been there? It's-
I've been down, but I haven't seen the latest stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just like what we've been talking about the
Yeah.
last year, it's all
Yeah.
happened. It's really good.
Okay, thanks, John. Okay, no items on the consent calendar. I don't know why we don't use that. Okay. Reports of the committees. The first committee listed is the executive committee, and we did have a meeting tonight, just before this meeting. One item on there to discuss the performance review of the executive director, and the outcome of that was we agreed to a process to deliver the report, and we'll make that recommendation later on in this meeting's agenda in closed session. And it looks like it's all going smoothly, and you should be getting your review by the end of the week.
Okay.
Okay? Anyone want to add anything to that? Okay. Finance committee, who's going to report out on that? Matt?
Finance committee met. Not all of us got the time correctly, meaning me. So I picked up the end of it. Hey. So we met to review the budget proposals for the next PCA fiscal year, and work through some changing items with John. No major issues or concerns there, and I think John is going to be bringing that up to the board today, I think, right?
Yes, it's on the agenda.
That was it.
But you did bring up an interesting question, whether the Healthcare Reform Act is going to impact us. And I did some research, and nonprofits are only obligated if they have 50 employees or more.
Perfect.
So
That's
it's
what I
optional.
suspected.
Thank you. One of the things that's affecting my work right now is the Healthcare Reform Act, which we all think is a great thing, but changes the coverage requirements for people that, based upon the amount of hours that you work. And it kicks in this next year. So, so people that work, in our case, over 30 hours or push 30 hours on average over their time period, the organization has to pay for healthcare, even if they're in a temporary role or something else. And that covers, I think, any employer with over 50 employees.
Great.
So when we get to 50 employees, we'll worry about that. That'll be a good thing.
We'll worry
That'll
about
be
the
after we
land first.
purchase that building. Okay, anything more, questions? Okay, nominating committee, there was no action there, was there, John?
No. No, we took care of that with Jude's appointment last meeting.
Right. No policies and procedures, outreach and development. Was there anything on that?
Okay, that seems to be any.
Okay. Item 10, old business. The first item is a discussion only of modifications to the city agreement for the annual financial reviews. I thought we did that last month.
I wanted to keep it on, I just wanted to give you a status report.
Oh,
So I
okay.
wanted to keep it in old business because we should be getting final approval very soon. As it stands, John Brown requested a side letter, and I delivered that, and he's just been too busy to move to the next step. But the city is behind the change, it makes perfect sense, and the question is just how to affect it. So, that's it, that report.
Okay, thank you.
On a side note, do you expect that'll be done in time this year before we re-engage the auditor for the next fiscal year?
Absolutely, and I told John that the real deadline is July 1st, actually August 1st, because we have to wait for the financials to come in for June and July before we can really do the full audit. So, and I've also talked to Jill, and so, you know, it's on the tracks, it'll get there.
Great.
I just don't want to be the pest with John Brown.
Nope,
He's behind it already.
all good.
Okay, perfect. We can move to new business now. First item, discussion and possible action to appoint PCA director. We have a number of vacant seats. I guess we're all in agreement that we are ready to make an appointment, yes? I think we kind of agreed to that last. Do we have any other discussion about making an appointment of Marcia Trent to the board?
The only question I have is, I got a little bit confused, even though I put this on the agenda. PCA director, it should be board member, correct?
Well, it's board of directors, so.
Yeah, I just don't want to be
Just
confused with
wordsmithing, yeah.
the director, executive director.
Executive director,
Okay.
board director, right. Right, PCA board director, that,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you on that. Board director, okay. I think, though, I need a clarification from Marcia. We have, I forgot to bring the list with me of vacant seats. There's one elected seat, or was it two? Or any?
You're asking them, go back, I think we had 13 is the number that we could go to.
Right,
And of that 13, how many are elected? 5? Or 7?
yes, it's 5, 5,
And 3 designated.
and 3 designees, 2 and 1,
But
right?
we already have 5 elected seats.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
didn't have in front of me, because when we were trying to make the determination of whether Matt was in an elected
Yeah.
seat, and yes, he is, so
If he's an elected
the
seat, we have
seats that are
5.
open right now are appointed seats, so that clears that up. Okay, good. So you know the seats that we have are one-year appointments. So I just wanted you to be clear on what it was that you're getting into before we just go,
That was clear.
okay,
Has-
okay,
Has
good.
she been properly informed about the hazing ritual?
Yeah.
You had to go and spoil it.
Can you rewind that camera real quick?
But anyway, since Marcia, you're ready for an appointment, do we have a motion to appoint Marcia Trent to the PCA Board of Directors?
All motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Oh, I meant to say,
You're an aye?
I'm trying to
Okay.
type too, I can't
You can't
Okay.
type and talk at the same time.
Come on,
Raise
Jason.
your Left
Okay,
eyebrow.
so then
Seconds.
it's
Unanimous.
unanimous with
Thank you.
the current board here
Welcome.
that you are appointed.
Now I get to
Alright.
move up here.
Okay, now for the hazing.
Where's the funnel in that gallon of
Neil-
Muscatel?
Does she assume now she comes up?
Want me to-
Sure, she can come up and sit with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Better view.
In fact,
Yeah.
You could stare out
I
across
have
the
your
vast
very own
audience.
board binder to deliver.
Oh, wow.
Do we want to get into committees already with her, or is that next time?
Yeah, we don't have that on the
Oh,
agenda.
don't scare her. We
Yeah,
just-
let's-
Non-disclosure.
That's the hazing Neil was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
In fact, I like that line. Between now and the next one. And here are two documents that go with our discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very
Glad
much
to have you.
for,
Really glad to have you.
Thank you all. I'm excited. I'm eager to make a contribution if I can.
yay.
Yeah.
And we got another woman, yeah. All right,
It's a conspiracy.
I don't have to be part of the boys club here. Okay, so, with that done, the next item under new business would be discussion and possible action regarding, the PCA, that would be executive director
Yeah,
contract.
yeah, yeah.
So, yes,
There
I
we
think
go.
if we would, yeah. Okay, and that's my item. And did everybody have a chance to, look at the draft? This went out to everybody, didn't it? I can't
You
remember
mean
the
one
email.
with the yellow things on it?
Yeah,
Yes, I believe John,
No, I didn't see it.
didn't John forward it, or did you?
Yeah, John.
Yeah.
yes, John drafted it. It was forwarded to, I believe, all of us. It wasn't just the executive directors, it was everyone.
It was
right?
everyone.
Yeah, and I think everybody
It
that
may
I
have gone to
heard
the
from.
executive directors first, and you and Eric responded, and on the basis of that, I sent it to everybody.
That's right. Okay, so, having reviewed the contract, is there,
Make a motion to approve.
okay,
I'll
are there, okay,
Question?
okay, well, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
He did.
Oh, you seconded it, okay. Is there any discussion?
Just a quick one.
Yeah,
Maybe we've already gone over this. Is it traditional for a one-year contract as opposed to 2 or 3, or?
We discussed that last year, and we thought with the changing of the financial situation, that, even, I believe it was even John's consensus that we should leave it as a one-year term.
I think John suggested it.
It would be easier if it wasn't, but
Yeah, we had talked about making a 2 to 3 year term, but I believe I'd have to go back and review the minutes because there was a reason why.
Okay.
Why don't we pass it as a one and then consider open for discussion, amendments or extensions later?
I don't know.
Maybe let John come back with a proposed, options or whatever.
Or
Talk about it with the executive
committee and
Mhm.
talk about that.
But in the meantime, we can clean up some details right now,
Okay, that's fine.
push it on through.
At least in this case, John isn't waiting another month for a contract.
yeah, this is the first year we really did it on the clock. Because we were so busy at the first year and the second year, kind of always got, I think we got behind the ball. But we nailed it this year, I think. Right on time.
No more fooling around.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do we want to withdraw the motions and make any changes to this, or are we good?
If the motion sticks, like I say, we can always
Okay.
pick it up and deal with extensions or amendments later.
Okay,
John
I'm
can
fine
deal
with
with the executive committee offline and bring it to the board
Okay.
if something comes up.
okay, well then, all those in favor of, this contract?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay, it's unanimous.
Guess if John wants a couple more years, he's just gonna have to
Yeah, this will make it easier for
lay
you
it
to
on the
retire.
line and say, I'm leaving, I'm walking. if you don't
Muriel's
believe it."
probably happy it's a one-year contract.
No, this has been great. I really appreciate being
Yeah.
PCA, and I really appreciate the support of the board.
How many years is this now?
Going into the 5th.
Wow,
Does that mean that the extension will be 5 years?
We do have a 5-year contract, yeah. No, it's been good work for me to do, and like I say, the support of the board. I mean, just doing the minutes regularly, can't imagine how important that is to keep us at the office on track. It's like an anchor or a center of gravity, so it's been good.
Too bad we didn't have a video clips of all the times where he said, I'm not doing this anymore.
Splice them all together.
Okay, this is the last year, I'm not
Little
doing
mashup.
this again.
Sounds
But
like
it's
stop-
gotten so easy now, you can almost do it in your sleep.
That might be a
No,
project
that's
in
not
stop motion.
necessarily-
Yeah, you don't wanna say that, we just gave him a raise.
But, you know, there was a point last year where I was thinking I could do it in my sleep, and then I said, no, now it's time to expand.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, no, I'm talking about how when we first thought, oh my God, we've gotta do that, we gotta draft the budget, how are we gonna do that?
Cindy, I think you have a great idea for the stop motion class. I'm not doing this anymore.
Nice.
Oh, no,
Great.
good job, John, thanks. Okay, so the last item in new business is a discussion on possible action to approve the fiscal year 2013-2014 budget. And I believe everybody got that and via email. Does everybody have a copy? Okay, here, we can look at it together. Here. Okay, so, John, do you,
Yes, well, I went over it with, like you see, it was version V1C, so that's the third version that came out of the financial committee meeting. And I made a few tweaks. I added an hour to some membership coordinator, keep him at the desk a little longer. And we upgraded our security, so there was installation costs, and I wasn't sure what the quarterly cost was gonna be. When I got the first bill from them at the new setup, I recalculated that number. And there is a big question mark on the line 611, the audit and the tax returns. I left it at the high value in case we have to do an audit. I don't have a firm number from Torkelson on what it would cost to do a financial review, but it should be around $6,000 for the tax return and the financial review instead of that. So that money can be reapportioned if we can lower it. And I'll try to find that out before I deliver this to the city.
I have even though we talked about this, I think at the finance committee and in general, it looks fine. The budget doesn't have anything in here really for fundraising, outside fundraising. And that's been something we've talked about this last year, and we don't have no firm plans on it, and if it's not in the budget, it means we're really not heading in that direction. So I just wondered if you had thought anything about that, and, or is that, is that something that if we're gonna do it, it's really the board's gonna have to do it, because you guys are pretty well underwater as is, and just try to do any sort of fundraising campaign is something you've gotta give a lot of thought to and
Yeah,
work it up.
I have to confess, it's not my forte, and it's not something I've been able to get a lot of traction on. So I think that would be a good idea, and maybe that extra $2,500 could be directed to that.
Well, we haven't tried any sort of direct mail, or we haven't
Right.
done any fundraisers, we haven't really done.
Oh,
We talked about some of that
Yeah.
at the last meeting. In fact, I shared with them the concept of, of maybe the city would be able to sponsor that through the water department or something, be able to insert something about PCA, would that be,
Well, our bank's willing to do that too.
Have you given any consideration to fundraising through crowdsourcing and that kind of thing? Because
I
I'm
don't know what
really
that is.
interested in that, and I would
like
like to.
Kickstarter?
Yeah, like Kickstarter or Indigo, or, there's actually even a woman, I think she's up in Sebastopol, who has a company that does, crowdsourcing and online.
What is crowdsourcing mean?
It's kind of like people pledging the public. You go
Mhm.
to the public through an online crowdsourcing thing, and you put up a project, and people pledge money for it. The general public pledges money for it. And some community television stations, I did a little bit of research, some have just kind of stuck their toes in it and been kind of successful. But for equipment or for major projects or that kind of thing,
Yeah.
not just for, but I can see where it might be useful for, just for fundraising, to increase memberships or something like that. If, and it's a terrific tool for getting your message out there to the public. But I don't know enough about it. I'd have to know more to, but it's a thought.
And Caitlin is a great resource for that kind of marketing, direct mail or crowdsourcing.
I mean, I think it's something, even though it's not in the budget, it's something we ought to look into this year. Not that we have, I mean, we're adequately funded and things are looking good, and but there's always contingencies that come up, or there are, you know, we got a great staff who wants to do things, and frankly, we want to keep you and the staff cooking. We don't pay you big salaries, we don't pay you great benefits. You know, the only way we'll be able to is if we do other fundraising to do that and to keep this stability in the organization.
Something I mentioned when I joined the board was the idea of some sort of employee incentive-based fundraising system. That sort of gets at one of the points you just made, where it's not like we have an incredible amount to offer employees who do very good work, but I know at least in working in private sector positions, there are often goal-based incentives to inspire employees to reach out and do fundraising themselves. And I know it's something that we talked about quite a while ago, but hasn't been brought up since. I mean, my recommendation would be to schedule a separate meeting on this subject. I don't and have it be part brainstorming, part bringing back some ideas that have already been generated, and then yes, with renewed energy that's now with PCA with some of the new employees. You mentioned Caitlin. I certainly think there's more that can be done. So I'd be an advocate of scheduling some time for us to meet and discuss it and come up with some more tangible strategies. But I would like to see it also involve PCA staff. I
Yeah,
think the
absolutely.
board can do a lot in terms of recommendation, but you have paid employees. That's their job to come into PCA the hours that they do. I think it's worth exploring some opportunities where maybe they have some sort of incentives to helping fundraise. So
I don't know if you could actually. I
That's
don't
a
know
question,
mu-
yeah.
I don't know much about the fundraising world. I know that when you hire fundraisers,
Mhm.
they're not supposed to make their money based on the percentage
right.
they pull in. So I don't know if something where staff has that kind of incentive
Well,
is something you
I think
can
if you do it as a general goal, for
Yeah,
example,
a
as a
general
way to
goal.
structure it where the sum of this fundraising allows us to do this kind of a raise,
Right.
that might be a way to do it. But I think there's something to be said for that. I mean, when people are doing something that they love, of course, that's great. When they're compensated at a level that's okay, that's great. But I also know sometimes when there's a carrot to, you know, a path for people to earn more that involves bringing in revenues, that works. That's why there's commission structures, and
Is this a function of the outreach committee?
it seems like it.
I mean, so.
Yeah, you know, we have a hook out in October if we want to really embrace the annual members meeting as a larger scale public event. We try to get more of the community in, find a good venue, have music. We could start working now to really make that something special. I was at a downtown association meeting Friday, and the people from the Terra Firma Farms were really impressive. And they've got a beautiful community tent. They show movies there, you know, barbecues, they roast pigs. I mean, it started me thinking that we could get out of the box for the members meeting and do something that gets a higher visibility than just the members.
it's interesting actually that you mentioned Terra Firma because,
I haven't talked to them yet, so.
yeah, well, I'm actually helping to organize the music for an upcoming event, June 15th. It's a benefit for Schollenberger Park.
Mhm.
And it's the third one, and typically these have been done at Lagunitas. This is the first time we're doing it at Terra Firma. And I was a little skeptical initially, but
Well, they were very
Check
proud
it
of
out.
mentioning that, and no, I forget the woman's name, I should have grabbed her card, but I was late. She was almost in tears, talking about how important it is to be part of the community and have people come and use that space as a
Yeah.
community space. It was quite touching.
so I guess, yeah, I think it does fall into outreach. So that would be myself and Eric and George. I'm trying to think who else is on the, Rachel, yeah. So I could try to coordinate a meeting. Maybe we can have Caitlin and you there as well.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
brainstorm on some ideas for fundraising. But I completely concur with Neil's point that we ought not to be assuming that we won't have a need for additional funds.
Yeah, on that point,
Well, but just because we didn't budget for it doesn't mean we can't chase it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think part of the
That's
reason we
true.
don't budget for it is because we don't have a program.
That's
We don't have a
actually good.
Program, we don't budget for it.
Well, then that's a good point too, is
Okay, go ahead
that
and give it a kick.
at least it's not factored into the budget, so it's not, our budget isn't based on this unknown of, possibly we fundraise. But that should not be construed as no impetus to fundraise.
Why don't you invite Marcia to your subcommittee too?
no,
I like that.
Don't we have a limit on how many people, I mean, I'd love to.
Well, if somebody mysteriously doesn't show up.
We have 4 on it right now. Is there a rule that we can't have more? I mean, sometimes we don't have everyone there.
Is
Well,
it a
maybe I
standing
could just come
committee,
and
right?
listen.
Is it a
Yeah.
standing committee?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So you publish an agenda and you stick to the agenda?
No, it's not a standing
It's not?
committee, no,
Isn't it?
no,
outreach and development.
I thought it was.
no. Executive committee, finance committee, and nominating committee are standing committees in the bylaws.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So then what does that mean? Can we have
think-
one?
Well, I think it just means we can't have a quorum at one of those other committees.
The committee meetings are public meetings, so anybody
Right.
can come, and we
Right.
welcome
So I'll
everybody.
just come and listen. and
Right,
let
but
me
we
know
have
when.
9 members on the board now. 4 does
Oh.
not make a quorum.
So 4 is, yeah, we can have a quorum.
Yeah.
5 does.
I think
Oh.
we should definitely mark next agenda, new business, appointment of committees. And I'll get together with Marcia and we'll go through the possibilities.
Rebalance or something.
But I do want to say that we do have 3 goal figures in the income, which are that money. Now, they're in there because they make the budget work, but we never spend as much as we think we're going to spend, so. We have $2,000 for unrestricted contributions, which I thought could deserve a strong campaign. That's the cleanest, somebody just gives you the money. We have grants, 5,000 and 6,000 for underwriting, business sponsorships. We brought in 2,000 on the business sponsorships from our bank, and that's likely to continue, but those are goal numbers that we could target this event to match. On the other hand, we always end up with a reserve or a carryover balance that's pretty substantial, and I'm thinking now as we're depleting our capital X fund at the city, that annually we might want to start shifting money from that carryover into a separate account that we call CapEx. It would be unrestricted. We already have $20,000 from the trailer and other equipment in a separate account at Summit. And if you look at the figures on the last page, you'll see that the carryover in blue in the middle, the actual carryover on this budget is lower than my anticipated carryover, but that's because a lot of expenses have been capital expense for the studio, and we haven't been reimbursed yet, so there'll be money coming back in on that. But it's a thought I'm working on.
That might be a great first step in the drying up of that CapEx that the city holds.
Yeah.
So as that dries up, start working on replenishing it with the, when it builds.
In a different account, which was the city's idea.
That might be a function of the finance committee to figure out which and how much and how fast.
That would be something to do in July.
Kind of like the reserves.
Yeah. Yeah, I budget high for the staff, a maximum number of hours, and they rarely work those full hours.
So
But
there's some
now that we're doing the PTO, is that gonna look differently?
Even with the PTO, these are part-time jobs with very talented people who have other interests and take other jobs. So sometimes I let them off to go do another job. Zach was working with Pixel. Caitlin has got a feature she's gonna help with. So there are other projects. So I budget with a certain number of average hours per week, and I watch it monthly. I watch it every pay period. I calculate how many hours we work, and I have an average, and the average is right where it should be. But it fluctuates. I mean, with studio build-out and butter and eggs, Zach went over the top the last 2 weeks. But then he's also worked a lot less than he was budgeted for on other weeks.
Because he keeps breaking all of his bones.
I'm done.
So we're gonna,
All right, so,
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
Didn't we already do that?
no,
No.
I'll second it. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, simply with the fact that I will be changing that number for the financial review when I get it from, because this would be a year for a
Right.
financial review study.
Is that understood? Okay, I think, did everybody
With
agree
the
to the
condition
budget?
there.
Yep.
Subject to.
Okay, all right. You got it. Nobody's opposed or abstaining, right?
No, Richard's not here.
Oh my God.
That's on
I forgot
tape
about
now.
him.
Yeah, Matt, why'd you say that?
And I think we're ready to adjourn to closed session.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.